Incompetence Pod.
Welcome to the Perpetual Incompetence Podcast, a journey in competitive self-improvement.
Join us as the three of us endeavor to improve our lives by competing in a series of low-stakes challenges.
In each episode, we will come up with a challenge and then define the rules or metrics for victory.
We'll have 2 weeks to do our best, and at the end, one of us will be crowned victor. Hi, I'm he who dangles, melodious warbler Mike Picasso Collins, the Satisfinder, a.k.a. Lil Seeky Boy, the Songsmith's Revenge.
Hello, I'm the Slumberjack, the Dashing Brogue, the Taste Bud Traveler, Dan Collins, the Wheat Treater.
And I'm Travis Gazellicus Braband, the Planet Pusher, Postal Pile Driver, and bearer of the Incompetent Cup of Iridescent Splendor. We each have one idea for a challenge for us to attempt the next 2 weeks. After we've all presented, we'll decide whose idea is the best. Who wants to go first? I just gotta say, Mike, your title is a real word salad now.
That's pretty good, though.
I was at the end of this, I was holding back because I wanted to say BAM or POW, ta-da.
Aren't the words punctuation enough?
There, yeah, it's pretty good. I was really feeling it today. I can go first.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so this is one that we brought up like 4 times already, and we have to do it at some point. I propose that we stop eating sugar, any processed sugar, for 2 weeks. And I think the health benefits are obvious for this one. So, sugar bad, make you fat. Also will cause inflammation, etc. I personally, this one would be good for me because I've been eating a lot of sugar lately. So I'd like to drag you guys down with me in correcting my poor self-control.
I just went grocery shopping the other day, and I splurged and I bought a 12-pack of soda, which I never do. And I also bought a bunch of orange cream sickles.
And it's be a great time to do it then.
I want to eat and drink those.
So you can drink and eat all that tonight after we record, and then you can start it tomorrow. Just get it all down.
Gee, yeah, that would be good for my body.
Yeah, I Holly and the kids gave me some candy and stuff for Father's Day, which is like 18 inches away from me right now. So, but I do think that you're right, Mike. I think this is something that we should do, and that this is probably, I think there's probably benefits, biological changes that we might notice if we do this. I've often heard that you can kind of reset your sweetness index. And that if you go without sugar for a little bit, then you will find that like fruit is like really sweet, or like we get so much processed and fake sugar that we are like desensitized to natural and other like just good sugars. So by doing this, you can sort of like reset your baseline. And then I've heard people that have done similar things for a month or whatever, that when they come back to it, if they try to eat candy, they're like, oh, this is too sweet. Or you kind of realize how much sugar and how much sweetness we could take in every day without really even noticing it.
I think that's very true. And also something to take note of, next weekend is 4th of July, which if anybody is not in the U.S., what we Americans do on the 4th of July is just fill our bodies with all the garbage that we possibly can in one afternoon.
Like we do on every holiday.
Yeah. God bless America.
Is there processed sugar in beer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that.
There's got to be. Right?
Well,
I mean,
yeah, probably. Darn it. I don't like that.
Well, I know there's a lot of calories in beer. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'd have to look.
Usually those are, I think, carbs, but I don't know. We'd have to look into that. It's a good starting point. I don't know that I want to do it, but I probably need to. All right. I will go next. The weather is nice. Today was very nice. It wasn't hot. It didn't rain, and it was like a nice kind of a balmy 75, 80, something like that. A delightful summer day. and probably a very nice summer night. And also in the news lately, sort of in keeping with some of our discussion last October, there's been a lot of goings on in the UFO world.
Oh yeah.
So, not that we're gonna
Wait.
not that we're gonna get to the bottom of the mystery, but I think that for the next 2 weeks we should do a bunch of stargazing because
Oh.
it's nice outside and there's a lot going on up in the skies, and I almost never ever look up, like ever. When's the last time you looked at the sky at night?
I mean, probably last time I was outside at night, but
But did you actually look up and like observe?
I'd say a couple weeks ago. I remember I was out there on a pretty nice evening, and I looked up. I was like, "Oh, look at that!" I mean, I live in the city, so I don't see that many stars, but I saw pretty clouds.
Sure. Well, it's been a absurdly long time for me, so I think it'd be nice for us to observe the heavens and maybe observe some alien spacecraft coming to invade our planet.
So wait, so what's the news with the aliens? I know I'm out of the
Well,
loop
we
on
d-
that.
Dan. Oh Dan.
we don't have time to get
We,
into it here, but
But suffice it to say, aliens are real.
well, I know
They're
that
real.
we've already had, but
all
give
right.
me like
The cliff notes are there's a gentleman that works for the Pentagon and all these like top secret agencies trying to collate and work through like the classified materials. He's basically like a filter between the military and the Pentagon and stuff. And he's because he's come public saying that there's more stuff that the government has not released, and there's things that have been hidden from the like legislative, like the Congress and whatever. So he's basically being a whistleblower, saying that there are things that should have been made public that aren't, and that they're like petitioning I think the Pentagon to release the stuff that they have that they haven't shown to like the Congress and Senate and stuff.
Yeah,
really.
and he was talking about like he said, we have alien spaceships that have crashed and alien pilots and stuff. He didn't bring any proof though, so
Yeah, he's
Well,
so
who knows?
far he's just a guy saying stuff, but he is a guy that is in like high levels of government and was like a captain in the army or something like that. Like this is a highly credentialed gentleman coming out as a whistleblower, and some of the stuff that he's saying is like insane. Like Mike was saying, like that we have recovered craft and remains of non-human intelligences, and he claims that like the Vatican is in the know and has worked with the U.S. government and other governments
the
to suppress it.
Vatican?
Yeah,
Yeah, man. It goes deep.
Where
It
have
goes
I
deep, Dan.
been?
his name is David Grush. Is the
Okay.
guy? Anyway, we've
Also
taken
there
way
was
too much
there was
time
a
talking about this.
well, no, I'm not done yet. No, we got it going. So now, there was an alien spaceship that landed in a backyard in Vegas. I don't know if you heard about that one recently. That was
No,
the one like it just came out. And then there's another one. They saw it. There's a video of alien spaceship in Ohio, I think, somewhere.
they have. Is it? Can you YouTube this? Is this
Yeah,
what's
yeah, YouTube it,
happening?
baby.
I don't know that either of those are verifiably true or not.
They're all real, Travis.
I'll just say that this David Grush guy seems fairly credible, and that process is working itself out right now. And for the next 2 weeks, I think we should just, stargaze, and maybe we see just some shooting stars or something, and maybe we see some floating Chinese balloons, or who knows. But I think it would be a nice thing to do and something that we don't do enough of. And then maybe at the end of it, we would do like I don't know, a constellation identifying quiz or something. We can figure out what success looks like, but I think that'd be an interesting thing to do.
That
Yeah,
sounds really pleasant.
I like it. Does sound pleasant.
All right,
Hi,
Dan, what do you
Dan.
got?
I'm gonna bring one back that I suggested a while ago that I know Mike is interested in doing because he also suggested it at the same time I did. Do you
Oh,
guys want to find joy in the things that we have in our house and get rid of things that do not bring us joy? I feel like we should follow Marie Kondo um, and do her whole thing, her whole deal. Do that.
their whole
Just
jam.
throw stuff away.
Throw a bunch of junk away. But then also finding joy in the things that you don't throw away.
Yeah.
right? Is that what she's about? Declutter your
Yeah,
mess.
I actually read her book.
Oh,
It was good. Yeah, this would also be probably just as good for me as not doing sugar. I feel like got a lot of stuff to get rid of. My house is full of garbage that I just don't need.
When Mike did work at the place that I work, when we worked together,
Mhm.
he and I would go to lunch, and he would often drive, and in the back of his truck there would often be different heaps of stuff that was going
Mhm.
from his house to the dump, and we came to affectionately call it Old Heapy. There would always be a different bunch of stuff going from his home to the dump.
These are facts. In fact, old Heapy is still going strong. Got a bunch of I tell you, there are few joys in this life that are as visceral as just bringing things that you just despise that have been hanging around your house and then sticking them in a pile next to a bunch of smelly garbage and driving away and saying, I never have to see those again. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that I couldn't benefit from doing this, but there are very few things in my house, if any, that I could say that I despise. Like I don't
Well,
I don't have that sort of relationship with the
well,
objects of my home.
here's what I would say, Travis. Well, here's what I would say. Most of the things that I get rid of, that give me that like sense of relief are the things that are like projects waiting to be done. It's like, say like I bought an old dresser that was like, oh, we'll fix this up and paint it, and we'll be like those people on TV that are, they upcycling,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And then, but actually, what happens is you just have an old dresser in your garage for 5 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Maybe
when it goes away, it's like, oh yes, that weight is gone. Dressers can be pretty heavy. Just saying.
That's true.
yeah, I mean I'm on board, I guess. I don't have I tend to think of those things as like a potential of future joy, but I don't I
Well,
difference in
yeah,
perspective, I guess, but there could definitely be value. We certainly have things that we could just get rid of, namely a million toys.
yeah, yes.
All right, 3 good options, I think.
All right. I like mine.
I don't hate yours either. I don't love the fact that like we have 4th of July coming up and you guys are coming over here as part of that and we're going to have a celebration, but the idea of not having like scotcheroos or sugar or having beer of certain kinds or whatever, that doesn't fill me with joy, but it is in
Well,
that.
Travis, if we both drank the same beers and ate the same scotcheroos, then we at least wouldn't be even with each other.
Yeah, that kind of flies against the spirit of the challenge though.
It's true.
So if you guys want, I mean, I don't really want to do that challenge, but also beer doesn't have any sugar in it. So
Oh. All right.
Hey,
Let's get it done.
let's do
at
it.
least according to
I'm
whatever article I'm looking at right now.
I'm actually super on board for this one. I mean, obviously it was my idea, but like I think I need to do it for my own health. So
All right.
The sugar one?
yeah, the sugar one.
Oh, I don't want to do
If
that. Hold on. What are the other options?
No. I think I do want to do the sugar one, and here's why, Dan. I've recently had ample time to sit and consider how heavy I am. So if I can
Listen to the
reduce that
previous
number,
episode.
that'd
This
be
is just
great.
reminding me of the gluten one, where it's just such a pain in the butt. You got to look at all the labels of everything you're eating.
So the thing is with sugar, it's a little bit easier, and that you kind of know.
Usually they kind of put it right on the front label too. No sugar or sugar free.
This does bring up the question of, is it just like regular sugar? Because they have a million sugar substitutes now.
I would say the sort of sugar that has calories, right?
Okay.
So like you could have a diet soda, that would be fine.
Okay.
I would say I don't know. It would make it more complicated to track, but in this, like, I think the spirit of it is that you don't have those either, because I think those present their own problems.
I mean they're not good for you, but they don't have sugar. I would say that's a different problem. Like if we're gonna give that up, it would just be like let's give up soda. But I don't have diet soda hardly ever anyway. So do
I don't
you?
either, but I bought soda for the first time in like 4 years. Maybe not that. Maybe 2 years. And I have a bunch of it now. That's okay. I don't need to drink it.
What kind of soda did you get, Dan?
Orange Crush.
Nice. That is a
Really?
classic.
Doesn't that sound so good?
I mean, it does.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah, it does.
I tend to chew gum when I'm at work, and gum has sugar alcohol of 1 gram. Does that count as sugar?
What does that mean?
Is it?
I don't know. I'm not a chemist.
I think if I guess I don't know. How do you guys want to be super strict about it and say nothing sweet, only savory?
Well, I think that's too complicated. I think just say
That's
no
what
processed
I'm
sugar.
like. If you pick up something and on the label it says grams of sugar in there and it's more than 0, that's too many. That's what I'm saying.
All right, I can try to find some sugar-free gum or something like that.
Yeah, I know it exists.
You guys know
Yeah.
that vitamin water? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
It's in like
Yeah.
a Gatorade bottle. You know that's just sugar water? That's just straight up sugar water.
it's loaded with sugar. Yeah,
There's like
Yeah.
no vitamins. I mean, there's unless sugar is a vitamin, but there's like no nutritional value in that stuff.
yeah.
It's
Tastes
just
great
like
though.
they just call it vitamin water. Like that's there's no vitamins in there.
All right, I think I don't know. I would vote for doing the no sugar one just because we should do it at some point, and we could all stand to benefit from this challenge. I think
I guess I
Yeah.
don't really eat that much sugar. So how do we determine who wins?
least
The
amount of
person that
sugar
eats
consumed.
least amount of sugar consumed.
By
Least
what?
number gram.
So we count the grams of sugar.
Count
Yeah.
your sugar grams, Dan. That's the easiest way to do it because it's on all the labels.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's
if you
easy
yeah,
in that
if
regard.
you have a kilogram of sugar, that's too much sugar probably. So okay, all right, let's do that one. We need to pick an honorific.
the unsweetened superhero.
The saccharin survivor. Saccharin is sugar, right?
Yes, and it means sweet.
Sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy.
I'm not crazy about it.
Sugar mama.
Mike, I think you were like saccharin's a great word. But saccharin's something like to defeat or resist.
The sad saccharin because it's like sad sack.
That's something I want to be known as.
Sweet baby Ray. Sweet tooth.
Toot sweet. Toot.
The bitter boy.
Bitter. I kind of like bitter
What's-
because it's the opposite of sweet.
Is it the opposite of sweet? Or is it say what is it? I don't think there's an opposite of sweet.
Savory, sour.
I mean that's just different, you know?
Yeah.
Sweet. I guess it would be bitter, wouldn't it? Sweet and bitter.
Yeah. Bitter.
Bitter
The bitter boy.
bitter brother boy baby.
The sugar shunner.
Sugar shunner.
Sugar
That's fun
shunner.
to
I
say.
like that is fun to say. Sugar shunner.
The sugar shunner.
Sounds like part of a song. Sugar shunner.
Sounds like something like Michael Jackson. Sugar shunner. You ever listen to those like it's a compendium like they take like Billie Jean but they remove all the music and just keep the Michael Jackson noises. It's like sugar sugar. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Sugar shunner. I like that, and it's it's perfect for the yeah.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Get it out, spit it out. Do it.
Plot.
Come on.
The intent. It's very
And
good for the
there you
intent
go.
that we're going for today.
There you go. Thematic, on brand,
Yes.
encapsulates the challenge.
All right, the Shuggy Shunner.
Wait, Shuggy? I don't remember agreeing to that. Sugar.
Dealer's choice, I guess. I'll be saying Sugar Shunner, but Shuggy.
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 That's kind of cute, though.
Shuggy if you got street cred high enough.
Like a rapper named Lil Shuggy.
Yeah.
I bet somebody out there, somebody maybe not immensely famous, is Lil Shuggy, and he's laying the beats down.
Laying them rhymes. Yeah.
Spitting hot fire. Okay, yeah, Sugar Shunner. Let's not fight it. That's what it is.
Sugar Shunner.
Okay. Do you guys have a prediction? I feel like I'm going to struggle through this. I don't know if that means I'm going to fail.
I feel confident. I think I can do this one pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I like my sweets. I like having a little, even just like a little piece of dark chocolate after a meal or something. I'm a big fan, but I generally am okay about not doing things for a challenge. So I don't know.
See, I typically go for the salty or savory snacks, and sweet is usually my last pick. So I think I'm good with this.
I was doing like really good staying away from the sweet stuff for a while, and it just I think since I started my new job and I've been around home, and Lindsay always comes home with ice cream whenever she goes to a store.
Yeah, sure.
So
it's all Lindsay's fault.
Yeah, sure. Blame
well,
Lindsay.
the ice cream 100% is her fault, but
I'm sure she just shovels it in your mouth too.
No, but what I was gonna say is, I whenever I go to a store, I always grab Nutty Bars. You know what I'm talking about? The little Debbie delights.
Yeah, those are better.
Those are healthy.
Yeah, those are my Achilles heel. And we got a bulk box of them from Sam's Club like 3 days ago, and there's maybe 2 left in that box. Yeah. I think there's like 24. They're all gone, and most of them was me.
Do you know what's not a good thing to talk about at this particular point in the game? What is that? Here's a pro tip: you can take those. What is the words you just said? What are they called?
Nutty bars.
Nutty bars. Take those and put them into ice cream, and then they break apart real good, and then it just becomes like you make your own little blizzard, and it's delicious.
See, like I'm not a big a la mode guy. I'm not like if the ice cream is there, if somebody gives me a bowl of ice cream, I'll be like, oh, thank you, ice cream, or like but that's where the that's where the magic ends for me.
Oh, that's
or Dairy Queen. I'm always down for Dairy Queen. Yeah.
Yeah. But not for the next 2 weeks. You're not.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
So we have our challenge. We don't have a metric. Yes, we do. We have a metric.
Yes, we do.
Just kidding.
Grams.
Keep you on your toes. Grams.
One of the most scientific metrics we've ever had.
So we have our challenge. We have our metric. We have our honorific. Let's do this.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Dan. How you doing out there, everybody? Let me hear you say hey. All right. Yeah, so thanks for listening to the show. If you guys are enjoying what you're hearing so far, recommend it to a friend. That's very helpful for us. Right now, me, Mike, and Travis are avoiding the minefield that is the world of sugar. Sugar is prevalent and is very hard to avoid, as you will find out. Why am I even talking about it? We talk about it for like another half hour or something. So why don't we just get back to that conversation that we had before me recording this? Okay, goodbye.
Welcome back to the Perpetual Incompetence podcast. As a reminder, we recorded the first part of the podcast 2 weeks ago, and since then we've been refraining from eating sugar as much as possible. Let's discuss how that went for all of us.
I love sugar.
Yep,
Love
it's good.
Sugar.
It's not good for you, but it is good.
It's the best. It's in everything.
Yeah, that is true. If you love sugar, you have lots of opportunities to just get all that sugar in you.
Sugar is in everything.
It's in all the things. All the things. You
all of
literally you cannot go to a restaurant and get something that doesn't have added sugar. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You can. You have to try pretty hard, but yeah. I mean, mayo, chips, bread, ketchup, anything that is not in a cooler at a grocery store has ketchup, or not ketchup, has sugar in it. So yeah, just across the board, it's there. It's in everything.
Mustard doesn't have sugar in it, though.
Sure doesn't.
That's
Neither
true.
does a lot of hot sauces, which I leaned quite heavily on.
But not all hot sauce, because sriracha burned me once.
Yeah.
I put sriracha on a taco without the shell, mind you, because that has sugar in it.
That's just like a lump of meat and cheese and beans.
I had rice, and it was a taco salad basically, but
Okay.
I put sriracha on it without thinking, and then lo and behold, there was 1 gram of sugar in there.
I got a quick aside here. So speaking of hot sauces, I found this one recently. I think it's called Firelli, and I was reading the back of it because I was already there looking to see how much sugar was in there. None, for the record. But and a lot of those ones, like, they have a like a little description of, like, here's where our company came from, and blah blah blah. We're nestled in the hills of whatever, with our
Old Joe accidentally cultivated a pepper underneath his shed, and it turned into our business.
Yeah, but anyway, this one, the opening line was Italian hot sauce ? Italian hot sauce. And that's why I bought it.
I don't get the joke.
It's not a joke. It's just the in the description it was 2 sentences: Italian hot sauce with a question mark, and then Italian hot sauce with a period. It's like, you got
Somebody in the marketing department, they're like, should we put something catchy or clever? And someone's like, no. Big brain moment. What if we just put confusing words on the bottle?
I mean, I feel like that's not very confusing. It's pretty much that's just what it is.
Okay, I guess confusing punctuation.
I think you just need to see it to understand it. It's also very good. Side note. All right.
Good.
Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, back to sugar. It's in everything. I will walk you through my story. The beginning of this podcast we recorded, and the next day I had a very busy day at work, and whenever we record these things, we get done recording at, like, I don't know, 11, 10:30, 11, something like that.
Yeah.
So went to bed, got up at 6 or whatever, went to work. So I was, like, running behind. I was tired and whatever. And the night before, I had looked at the burritos that I have for my breakfast burritos, and they have sugar in them. So I was like, okay, I'll skip breakfast at work. Went to work, went down to the cafe. I had an early meeting that I needed to get to, so I was kind of in a rush and wanted to get my food eaten before I got to the meeting. So I went down, got breakfast, and then went to my meeting. But halfway through the meeting, I realized that my breakfast was a cinnamon roll, which turns out those have sugar in them.
Yeah.
So that made up the lion's share of the sugar that I consumed, and it was just completely accidental. And I mean, it was delicious, but that was 30 grams of sugar on the morning of the beginning of the challenge.
That's so I'm gonna tell you, you probably got me beat just off the bat here, but I failed like several times for that exact reason. Like, I'm already eating something, like, oh, this is so good right now. Why is this so good? And then you're like, oh, right.
Yeah,
This is just a pile of sugar.
I'm not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I definitely had that where I started eating something and I'm like, it's probably fine, right? Like, it's probably there's some sugar in it. Like, it's pretty hard to avoid, but then you look it up later and yep, it had the thing I ate that had the most sugar was I went to Subway because there was no place open except for Subway.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to get a foot-long sweet onion chicken teriyaki. That was that. You know how many grams of sugar in that?
Probably a bunch. I'd imagine.
25.
38
Oh,
grams of
wow.
Jeez.
sugar in this one sandwich. You know what your daily recommended thing is, like, what, 32?
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
That's
something like
so
that.
much sugar. That's too much. Why is Subway doing that? Granted, that's the most sugar-filled sandwich in the entire menu, but it's
But I mean
good.
that does speak to like how sneaky it is. Like how
Yeah,
much sugar
Yeah.
everybody's consuming without like even eating things that they think are sweet.
yeah,
Like everybody's baseline has got to be just so high because everything is sweetened.
Well, I think that's about this whole thing is like my like general tolerance for sugar is way higher than I thought because there was a few times that I slipped up. I'll tell you the funny ones. So we finished recording what was it 2 weeks ago, and immediately after I was like, we did it. We recorded the podcast. I was like self-congratulatory. I was just kind of settling into my computer to maybe watch some YouTube before bed. And I went and grabbed an ice cream cone and ate that ice cream cone. And then as I was throwing the package into the garbage, I was like, oh, crap.
Hey, wait a minute.
So that was like, I failed within like, you know, 15 minutes of like us finishing the first part of the podcast, and then I won't tell my other failures, but the rest of them were all very similar to that. Just like,
I mean that is another thing is that it's so easy to have sugary snacks.
yeah.
Like I think they're like self-reinforcing and that if you have one, it's got that Pringles effect where like
yeah,
you're like, oh, I could go for 12 more of those. Because like you
Yeah.
eat one, like it's just it snowballs. And there's
Yeah.
so much I don't know. Even like your salty and whatever savory snacks have sugar in them too.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
and like
basically have to eat just like nuts and fruit. But even then, I have a Planters mixed nuts thing here, and it has 1 gram of sugar in it.
Like, why do they gotta do that?
but
Stop putting sugar in everything,
I gotta say,
companies.
like, I was like craving it, and like I said, I failed several times, where I just straight up forgot what we were doing, and I was still like a few days. I'm just like, oh man, I need it right now. And like at one point, I brought my family to Dairy Queen, and they are all just
Oof.
sucking down that
Oh, no.
delicious ice cream, just frothing at the mouth.
I
I
gotta
did.
say, I don't think I ever craved sugar. I don't.
Definitely did.
There
I
were
don't really eat that much sugar generally. But even with that, like, I still apparently eat a whole buttload of sugar because I was struggling.
there were a couple warm days where I got off work and it was like just boiling hot and the sun was beating down. I was like, oh, ice cream would go down so good right now. But I resisted. I did also have so I had that misstep on day one. And then that same day, a coworker brought in chocolate chip cookies for the team to have. So I didn't have any of those. And then Holly gets a lot of props for my performance in this task because I think like for these food ones especially, she generally likes to kind of get in the action and try to do at least sort of the challenge or tries to kind of go along the same lines. So she made some homemade peanut butter so that wouldn't have the sugar added to it. She did that on like day one, so we had a lot of
Ooh.
bananas and peanut
Oh,
butter to kind of like fill in that gap for us, a sweet gap. But then she also made these like fancy health bites that had like I think dates and some other stuff, like no actual sugar in them, but they were supposed to like kind of hit the spot.
yeah.
And I think I was either texting you guys or doing something else when she put them all or pulled them all and put them on the counter and told me to try one. And she was like listing the ingredients while I was texting you guys. And then when I went to go and take a bite of one, I like thought back to what she said and realized that she had said that they had hemp seeds in them. And me being in the guard, I was like, I don't know if that's allowed. And turns out, no, it's not. I could have gotten in some real trouble there. That's a thing that definitely shows on a drug test, apparently.
Oh, well, good to
Oh,
know.
So I did not have those. Um, then the day after that, there was somebody in the department at work who retired a few months ago, but they wanted to send everybody in the department cookies. So there was just hundreds of cookies delivered to our department, and I didn't have any of those. And they sat around for a couple of days because there was just a flood of cookies. just an embarrassment of them, and I didn't eat any of them, but they were just, winking at me every time I went to the meeting rooms.
Yeah, how did you guys fare on the Independence Day? We had a special approach for this one, whereas we basically didn't do anything. We stayed at home, and I took the kids to go watch the fireworks. That's the only thing we did that day.
Yeah.
So that was a good way to avoid it. Of course,
Ours,
the day before we were at your house, Travis,
yep.
and there were no sweet delights. You guys put on a pretty solid spread there, so that was good. But
Yeah, that was kind of our plan. Holly went to some pains to kind of make like the jalapeno cheddar bread that didn't have any sugar in it. To like, again,
it was
having
really
Holly
good.
like make this stuff that doesn't have sugar is like instrumental in avoiding certain things in your diet. But yeah, one of the things that led up to our preparation for that day before 4th of July hangout was I had brats earlier that week, and you can't have a brat bun because those have sugar in them, and you can't have ketchup because ketchup has sugar in it too.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So for the first couple days or whatever, the first batch of brats, I just had mustard on them, and I'm fine with mustard, but there's crucially something missing when you don't have ketchup on it. Um, so then when you guys came over, Mike, I had found that sugarless ketchup, which is actually like pretty close to good. It's more runny than regular ketchup, but
So it's
flavor
like,
wise, it was good.
yeah, it was all right. I would say it's very tomato soup esque, but it tasted fine. It was a good substitute. Should we get into the meat of it, or did you guys have more to talk about?
Well, I just want to reinforce. There's two other things that I didn't eat that I was given the opportunity to, just to show the strength of my willpower.
Yeah.
But also, Mike, we went to a kid's birthday party, and there
Yes,
was
we
of course
did.
birthday cake and a million other sugary things.
And it looks so
Uh,
good.
it did look so good. But then even like after that birthday party, we went to Rochester for some grocery shopping, and you just can't eat samples at grocery stores. They're it's just there, and they're trying to give it away, but you're like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah, I think that was the hardest thing about this challenge is like food is there, and it's like if you're trying not to eat a certain thing, you just have to say no because you don't know. It might be in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It really is an embarrassment of riches that we have in this country that we're just awash in opportunities to eat sugar.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. I was gonna say my general approach because I didn't really. I was just talking about how big of a failure I am. But I went to the store and bought basically. It was very hard to find bread because I was thinking I could do sandwiches, but I found some pumpernickel rye bread, which I quite like. Not everybody does, but I'm into it. And then I got like some really like fancy funky cheeses and
Mhm.
some summer sausage, which doesn't have sugar in it. And I basically lived off that for week number one. And
I did a similar thing. I looked through like all of the bread at the grocery store, and I found I think it was a rye that didn't have any sugar,
yeah,
and then cheese, and I got this chicken, but that had some sugar in it. But I was just okay with that.
you can't have ham. I know it's like a lot of ham is
Yeah.
has added sugar.
Yeah,
Whatever.
most like processed meat has some sugar in there for some reason.
So do we just want to like list numbers, or what do we want to do? Say
Yeah.
what we ate in our total?
Well, yeah, we could say instead of like going through it. Well, it depends on how long your list is. Mine's not that long, I guess. So.
Mine's relatively short.
And some of my items have a little story behind them, I think.
All right, I'll go first. Yeah, so cinnamon roll day one, 30 grams of sugar. And then at that birthday party, there was Domino's pizza, which I had 3 slices, which I think if my math comes out, it's 6 grams total of sugar. I think there
Yeah.
was 2 grams total
Sounds
per
right.
slice.
I also had that pizza, and that's how I counted it.
And then after that, after we'd gone grocery shopping later that day, I had 1 slice of Quick Trip pizza, and that was 4 grams. And then I had sriracha once for 1 gram of sugar, which comes to a total of 41 grams.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's way lower than me.
That's way lower than me too. Holy cow!
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
impressed.
go
Hold on,
next.
we need to like hold the suspense.
Okay, I
Yeah.
could edit that out.
No, it's all right.
Okay, well, so I already told you about my ice cream. It was like one of the pre-made ones. And it was 17 grams of sugar. Then I had pizza. I had pizza on more than one occasion, which for a total ended up being 20 grams because there's like basically 2 grams of sugar per slice, depending on which brand you have. And so my two big failures are I did the ice cream. That was just my fastest one, but it's not my biggest failure. I took my middle son out for pizza, just the two of us. And so we sat down and had pizza. It was delightful. And then I realized I had ordered a 1919 root beer and drank the
Oh,
whole thing. And I don't know if you guys know anything about that particular brand, but it's just like syrup,
Oh
basically.
yeah.
no.
A lot of that
And
root beer is just pure sugar.
so that one can of root beer was 47 grams of sugar.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So that one thing is
Yeah.
more than what Travis had total. That's funny.
Yep. And then I had basically the same thing that happened with the ice cream cone, but it was about a week in, and I ate half of a nutty bar, one half being one bar. And I was like, "Oh no, it's already in, and it's so good. It's so good when it touches your lips." 'Cause if you
But
remember
then,
back when I originally mentioned this, I had said we had bought like a giant box of these things, and they were still there. They were still in the in the cupboard, just staring at me. And then so these are like my favorite. They're my Achilles heel. I love these like Little Debbie Nutty Bars. They're the best
mhm.
thing on the planet. I love them. So anyway, that's 21 grams of sugar.
On
So
that note, I for Father's Day, Holly had got me some fun size Snickers and Twix, and those were the things that were sitting next to me when I recorded the first part of the episode. But we just like we took the little candy dish and we moved it away from my desk so I didn't have to look at it at least. But then a couple days ago, like my kids were just happily, noshing on my candy when I couldn't have it, but they were just, delightfully eating it and sort of rubbing it in a little bit that they were eating all my Twix. So, yeah. Happy
uh,
Father's Day present.
yeah. So I had a few things like some tacos. They're the least sugar-fried thing at Taco John's, and some potato salad and a manwich, which all have sugar in them. And my total ends up coming to 148 grams of sugar, which is not very low. Honestly,
I mean, it's low. The thinking that like normally you eat more than that, like that's what you
I
should be eating
I
instead
eat
about.
so much more than that.
Yeah.
So much more sugar. This is me being good.
Yeah.
And like it's yeah. Yeah, I have a
Well,
problem, you guys.
let me tell you what happened to me here. So I think the first night I didn't eat anything, and then I tried to just avoid everything without for the first couple days because I didn't know what to do, and I didn't everything I had in my fridge and everything had sugar on it. So I just made some pasta, just a thing of pasta, and that was the pasta itself was 16 grams of sugar.
Yeah,
Um,
pasta's a problem.
yeah, and the pasta sauce was another 12 grams. So that was the first meal that I had.
Jeez.
And the thing is, like, I like the pasta because I get like the sodium free stuff. Like, I thought it was healthy, but apparently it's got a bunch of sugar. Um, anyway, so eat out for lunch when I go to work. So I googled all these different places to see if I could find like the low sugar places, but I ended up getting lunch and it was typically around 7 grams of sugar. Um, a couple of places I could get like 1 or 2 grams of sugar, but yeah, like Jimmy John's. There's this like health place, but they all have just a little bit of sugar. So like I feel like I died by 1,000 cuts on this one. I did actually order Domino's twice, so I could have done better. And then I told you about the sweet onion chicken teriyaki sandwich. Um, and my boss bought us Pizza Luce. So I had a couple pieces of that. I kind of I bugged up on this one. I think I felt like I was doing pretty good, but I 158 is what I had.
Oh, I got you beat
I
by
thought
10.
yeah, I thought I was doing all right, but I went grocery shopping twice, and both times it was really stressful. And I had to read every single label because I realized I have no idea what has sugar in it and what doesn't, and I still struggled pretty bad, and I got frustrated, and I ordered Domino's because I was so mad at the world. So
Yeah, I mean that gets into a point that I had added a note to or a note for is that this challenge is a little bit different in that it's not a question of if there's value here. I think like scientifically, like you're better off reducing your sugar. Like nobody is denying that you're better off intaking less sugar. But where the challenge comes in is like does the amount of effort that takes to like be really diligent about how much sugar you're eating that I mean that requires, like I said, you have to look at every label to know what
Yeah.
yeah,
has sugar, what doesn't. Like you end up spending a lot of time, whereas like maybe there's another like other things you can do that are a better way of I don't know staying healthy. I
well,
just like it
Well,
feels like so hard to avoid.
I do think so. There's a few times where I've like counted calories, just to see how much I'm taking in, and I think that's always valuable. Like, I don't think it's sustainable to do that. Same thing with sugar. But be aware of what you're getting in. But if you do like for like a 2 week stint of monitoring your sugar intake or just your calories, I think there's a lot of value there because then a lot of people just don't think about what's in their food.
yeah.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, just I mean, just having it in your mind, just like the idea that like there's probably some sugar in this, just being aware that that's a possibility, whether
Yeah.
or not you look at it, Well, but
Yeah,
also food labels lie to you.
they sure do. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of the time that I remember I was looking at because I saw Hamburger Helper, and I was like, "Oh, I love Hamburger Helper," and it had said 0 grams of sugar. I'm like, "Yes," but then you look on the back, and it says, "Well, if you eat the whole thing, then you get 3 grams of sugar. But if you only eat half of it, that's 0." Because the way that they're legally told to label things, they can, if it's like a certain amount, they can just say it has 0 sugar.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
They just lie to your face.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
that.
Even then, there's like if you look at the label and it'll say like zero total sugar, zero added sugar, zero whatever. And then if you like, that's great. In that like white box, it says all that. But then
Yeah,
if you look like underneath the actual ingredients in there, it'll still say sugar.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
Like
well,
there's
how
sugar
much
in
sugar?
there.
If it's like, where is it? So yeah, that is annoying. But like
yeah.
to the earlier point, do you? I mean, you guys mentioned value and being aware of the sugar you're taking in. I think that this challenge. I mean, like, I don't know. Do you guys think that this will change your eating habits going forward in the
I
slightest?
I think in a very I this affected me in a very similar way to the Screenicus one where we didn't we tried to avoid using our screens. It made me aware of how much sugar I was taking in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's beneficial for me because I was like, oh, we gotta slow down a little bit, especially those nutty bars. Oh man, they're good, and I could just sit down and eat that whole box of like 30 of them, which is 60 bars. I bet I could do it. If there was a nutty bar eating contest out there, I could win it.
But I mean, like, I think that we did this thing and theoretically lowered our overall sugar levels or whatever, right? We sort of reset our baseline. But
Yeah,
I think that it's like way too easy to just go right back. Like this is a thing
yeah.
that's probably unsustainable unless you do major life restructuring.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to another point here, a little segue. We actually ended this competition at noon today and allowed ourselves to take some sugars that we might have some uh, enlightenment on how going back on the shug like affects you. Do you guys think like did you notice a difference?
No, I mean, I had like half a 12 pack of soda and a bunch of these like creamsicle things, and I ate 2 of the creamsicles and I had 2 cans of soda around noon, and, I don't know, I have no difference, I would say.
Yeah, so for lunch we went and got burgers from Hardee's, and then I had the little mini Snickers afterwards. And I think it was probably just like Sunday lethargy, but like I was like real sleepy after that meal, probably because it was like the burger and whatever.
Yeah,
But then after dinner I had an ice cream, kind of like a dilly bar, but the prepackaged one. And that
sure.
has tons of sugar, and I didn't really feel any different. Like I think that this was like maybe the drawing your awareness to how much sugar is in stuff is the value here, but biologically, I noticed no difference.
Yeah, I think I may also have gotten the sleepies after. So we went out and we got pancakes for lunch today, and the restaurant we went to, Happy Chef. They have this thing. It's called cinnamon roll pancakes, which
Oh,
is pretty much exactly what you think it is, and they're glorious.
that sounds
I will
amazing.
say they were like I've downed a few of those in my day, and this time they were pushing sickeningly sweet a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
I pushed through it.
Yeah,
I got,
you're
but
a
I will
hero.
say, yeah, I do. I do think it felt sweeter, or tasted sweeter than it usually does. And then after we went on a bike ride, me and my family, and then afterwards we got some Italian ice, like little freezy pops that you get.
Hmm.
Um, and that was also like the best freezy pop I've ever had in my life. Because it's so sweet. So I think it did kind of lower, but I think I was eating a lot of sugar. I think when we started this, I was in a particular like I was really taking in a lot. So I think that it was good for me. Right? This is something I needed to do.
Yeah. I'm a little bit like disappointed at how unsustainable and how like it's so clear that there's value there and it's a thing that everybody should be doing more slash less of, eating less sugar. But
Yeah.
like it's just not an option realistically. Like if you like we've established that we have busy lives and everybody does, but like you can't just always be looking at the labels and it requires such a life commitment to reducing your overall sugar intake.
Yeah.
It just
It'd have to be like your whole thing. Like this is what you do. Like you guys are, we just count our sugar. And that's not something I'm willing to do. I probably should cut out some of the sweets, but you know,
Like, if you just avoid the high impact, sugar snacks, like, soda and sweet
yeah,
onion chicken teriyaki sandwiches from Subway.
yeah.
Um,
I was talking to Holly about this today, and actually, my brother-in-law yesterday, and I think there is, if you're gonna have sugar, there is probably value in doing like the right kinds of sugar. Like there are better sugars than others. Like the
yeah,
maple syrups and the honeys of the world are better for you and have some other benefits other than just being sweet. So if you're gonna have it, that's probably the ideal way to go about it. But at the end, like it's not you don't have full control over what sugar you eat, seemingly, because it's in everything. So you either I don't know be part of the raw foods movement or whatever it is, people that only eat like things that came out of a ground or came out of an animal,
yeah, but, like, who
and then
wants to do that?
well we will eventually, but
Oh.
I it's inevitable at some point we'll do that. But yeah, it's impossible is what I'm saying, I guess.
yeah. I kind of agree with you. If you live in the U.S., it's more difficult to get food that doesn't have all the extra stuff in there than it is to eat other stuff, and it's more expensive too.
Yeah.
Like if you want the stuff that doesn't have all this extra stuff, including sugar, but also all the preservatives and whatnot, it's more expensive and it's more difficult to acquire, which is probably not a good thing.
Yeah, like you were saying, Dan, like if you are out and about or driving and looking to get something quick for lunch, good luck.
Yeah.
Because there are no options. You either do like a sit down or like I guess some Mexican places you can get away with it, or I think some Japanese are. I mean, you have to get pretty creative, basically.
Popeye's chicken doesn't have any sugar in it unless you get the sandwich.
There you go.
I just want to put that out there. Good job, Popeyes.
Shout
All
out
right,
to Popeyes.
how would you guys rate this on a 1 to 10?
This one's hard because like it's worthwhile, but it's just I think we all lost. Like this challenge is an undeniable value, but none of us are going to stick with it. So I guess I would put it at a 6.
Well, I'm gonna put the I think the value is pretty high for this one. I'm gonna give it a 8.5. But I think it's hard. You know, I don't know if that decreases the value of it. So that's why I'm gonna keep it high, because this is like what's killing people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I think I'm with you, Travis. I think I'll give it a 6. I don't know. I think it's an important thing, but I don't think it's gonna change my life personally. I'm going off of my own, how valuable it is to me. I'm pretty good about not eating sugar, except apparently it's in a lot more things than I thought. But
yeah, or so you thought.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't change the way I ate a whole lot. I still did pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll give it a 6.
I'd say you're probably not worse than average.
I think if you're a kind of person that drinks soda every day, this is gonna be way harder for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That used to be me, and then I stopped.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Big time. Because I was getting real fat, and I know that was part of it. So
Yeah. I mean, if like this is maybe a weird soapbox to climb onto, but if anything, the challenge has made me sort of fear for our nation and the world, because like, you know, obesity is a thing that is a concern, and that more and more people are dying of diabetes and, you know, heart failure and congestion and stuff like that. Like if you are in a position where that's a danger for you, it's really hard to avoid this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or like, I know that like certain cancers basically feed off sugary food, like sugar.
I think most of them.
Yeah. So I mean, if you get a cancer diagnosis, like, okay, I guess you just eat grass now.
Well, and I mean, it's proper hard to quit. Like
Yeah.
I was legitimately craving sugar, like
Yeah.
in a big way. I had to go and get I was getting sugar-free Gatorades, and I got a pack of them in our fridge right now because that was scratching the itch for me.
Mm-hmm.
But
I actually only get the sugar-free Gatorade. I think it tastes better.
I think so too. But that just means that you're just having the sucralose, or like
there's some other substitute.
Sugar, but sugar.
Probably not much better for you.
Yeah, the
well,
chemical
we'll make
sugar.
it fat. It'll just like melt some brain cells or something.
Yeah.
So,
Or
we
just
don't need
give you
those.
cancer. Who knows?
Yeah. Instead of feeding the cancer, it just gives it to you.
Yeah. So yeah, good challenge, but ultimately a little bit sad.
Yeah. Sad.
Now presenting the Sugar Shunner, Travis Brabin.
Oh, thanks guys. Thanks everybody at home who listened, and if you have the willpower to resist eating sugar, or you can reduce your overall levels, that's obviously very good for you. And if you have tips or tricks on how to do it that we didn't think of, by all means let us know, and maybe you'll add a couple of years to our lives, and maybe you'll just save the world doing that, because I think the world needs saving from sugar. Anyway, thanks again for listening, and don't eat sugar. Okay, bye.
You did great.
Next time on Perpetual Incompetence.
See, that was genuinely like hurtful for a second.
Also, next time on Perpetual Incompetence.
So I think for the next 2 weeks, we should just see who can read the most.